would you like to hear my favourite phrase in Australian?
Go on.
Right, here we go. Here's in my best Australian accent. Would you like to see my vagina?
Hello and welcome to the Movie Chef podcast, where we make a meal out of movies for your indulgence. Every week I'm joined by a man who gives grace, panache, delicacy and subtlety a run, because when he's not handing in the votes for the Latvian jury in the 2017 Eurovision Song Contest, he's sat in his garage in his coat. It's Cormac. How are you doing, mate?
Perfectly fine. If I should have really learned how to say hello in Latvian. Like that would have been really good.
There's your homework for next time.
Okay. All right. Hi, how are you?
I'm not so bad. How are you, mate?
I am living the dream, Paul. Living the dream. Rachel told me this week that I was too fat to bounce on the kids' trampoline, so.
Okay. Did she say that after the trampoline broke, or just beforehand, or at what point?
No, I wanted to go on the trampoline, and Rachel said, "Don't go on that trampoline, Cormac. You're too fat." And that's not exactly what she said. That's not exactly what she said. She said a part of the trampoline broke off, and she said that it would be a health and safety nightmare if I got onto the trampoline.
That's just what your BMI index is. It goes normal, obese, super obese. Don't get on that fucking trampoline.
What the fuck are you trying to say? That I'm 2 times over obese?
I'm not that far away. You're a big lad. You're a big unit.
Thanks.
Oh God, you've seen your face now. Right. What have you heard the news today?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Warner Brothers have announced
the Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut has been released, or it's going to be released, or it probably will be released in some form next year, 2021. I've just got off a 3.5 hour long watch-along of Man of Steel with Zack Snyder.
And you actually listened to the commentary of this?
Yeah, I did a full commentary of the film. And then afterwards there were sort of like 10 people from all around the world, all emblazoned with like Justice League t-shirts and Superman t-shirts. You know, super fans and stuff.
Announce it!
Yeah, pretty much. It was like everyone's like, "Have you got a question?" And one of the lads there from America is like, "Yeah, man. Why did you choose blue, yellow, and red for the suit?" I just wanted to go, yeah, because that's what they decided on 75 years ago. Why the fuck would Zack Snyder change it? And then there were other questions about what's going to be happening in the future with Supergirl or whatever. And then one last just came out and said it. We're getting this. And then they've announced it. So HBO Max are going to have it next year. Apparently it's about 6 hours long. Or 4 hours long, with the possibility of chopping it into 6 episodes like The Mandalorian. There are Hollywood reporters saying it's going to take 20 million at least to finish the effects, which says in a full film that's sat there. I was a pessimist at first. I'll be totally honest. I was saying to people, "Nah, it's bollocks. Just forget about it. Move on." And as you see more and more storyboards and more sort of trailers that have got the footage that wasn't in the theatrical release, it's looking more and more likely there's more of a film there than just nothing. You know, he's got something to work on, but it's not a full film. Have you seen any of the trailers for this?
Right. This is where I go back to. So, the main issue with this is that people have already seen Zack Snyder's cut. Now, obviously, there was no sound editing, there was no effects, there was no this, there was no that. And a lot of people, excuse me, who either watched it or heard about it have basically said that it was 3 hours of fucking nonsense. Now, as you say there, if they have 6 hours of this, when did it come out? 2016, 2017?
2017, yeah.
Right, 2017.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is now what did you say to me earlier on? Next year HBO Max.
Next year's probably going to be next summer.
Okay,
I can't
so
see.
he's got.
Depends how quickly they work on it, but this is to try and entice people to sign up for HBO Max.
Well,
and they're basically saying
this is a double chance for them to recoup the fucking money that they thought they were going to make on it the first time around.
Yeah,
you know.
And when you're releasing, and don't get me wrong, the only reason this is happening is because of streaming platforms. And people will say it's because there's a lot of things that go into how this has come about, and I do find it quite interesting. But you've got the fan push, the hashtag release the Snyder Cut. They had everything from planes with slogans on the back flying over Comic-Con, divides. They had banners at the side of a FA Cup football game. Release the Snyder Cut. There's been all sorts of Times Square banners. So their voice has obviously got this to a point where they're discovering it, but there's no way this would have been released if it were going back into a cinema. Not a chance. It'd have had to take, 100 million at the cinema. And I just don't think it would have done it. So having a streaming platform to release it on is a good thing because it's given them that chance to do it. All of that money that people sign up for and all that, you don't have to split it with theatres, you don't have to split it with distributors, it just goes straight in their pocket so they've got more chance of making 20, 30 million on this. Do you want to watch it? Would you want? Are you bothered?
Yeah, well, you know what? It raises an interesting question as well because I think we spoke about this a while ago. Because I think my favorite thing to say whenever we're talking about movies is, could they have remade it better? And obviously this is going in well into Point Break. Does it make sense to remake a good movie or to remake a bad movie? And of course, it makes more sense to remake a bad movie to try and see if you can turn it good.
Yeah.
But my point is now that he's got, as you say, six hours of footage, and he's got he's had 3 years, so he's got another year to to make it coherent. Let's be honest. If I had 6 fucking hours of movie and 4 years, I could potentially figure out how to make a good movie as well. The ingredients are already there.
The thing I've read here is that they're saying I can't remember the exact number, 216, I think, and Snyder, I think it's 216, I'm going to sound thick if it isn't, but there's this number, 216 minutes, apparently, is the run time of his cut. So you're talking 4 hours, right? So it's either a 4-hour movie that's going to be made.
4 hours?
Or, well, just short of 4 hours. Or it's going to be 6 half-an-hour episodes. And he needs to get Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck. Getting Ben Affleck back is going to be I don't know whether he will or not, but get Cavill back. And they need to do more. Apparently Snyder, when he presented this to them in February, the Warner executives came to him and HBO Max came to him and said, show us what you got. And he showed them and he pitched them ideas about how he could make this into, climaxes and cliffhangers of each episode and run like The Mandalorian rather than one single piece. So apparently he's got to get people back to touch. So the fact of the matter is Snyder's got a version of the film that he didn't finish and now he's got the chance to do it. And straight away, and we'll come on to reboots in a second, straight away there's now released the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, which is flying around. I mean, that was building traction anyway, but no. Yeah.
No. I mean, the problem that you have, right? The problem that they have is that, like, the problems with some of the DC movies, they had a vision. I think Zack Snyder wanted to make them really, really dark. He wanted to make them real dark and they needed to be moody. And you know what? That probably would have played well, under the DC umbrella because DC is the anti kind of Marvel. It's supposed to be the darker version. It's supposed to be the more serious, the grittier kind of, version of it.
Which is why the fans have objected so much or were put off by Joss Whedon coming in and Marvelifying the DC.
I know, but my point of it is, do we actually need it? Because a lot of the stuff that was in the movie was already there with Snyder, and it was shit anyway. So, do we need it?
Well, we're getting it. We're
Well,
getting it next year.
I wasn't.
And,
Maybe if we keep talking about it, they'll just pull it.
well, I'm sure it's going to be coming out next year, probably $9.99 a month. I don't know what it's going to be over here. I don't know if it's we're going to in the UK going to have.
I'm done with streaming. I'm done with streaming services. I've got Amazon.
Yeah.
I've got Netflix. I've got Disney Plus. I'm done. I don't fucking need it anymore.
Yeah, let's be totally honest. Is this going to make me take up a subscription? It'll make me take up a free trial, and I'll watch that because I don't need HBO for Sopranos and Sex and the City. This is the only thing that they've got that I want to sit and watch. So it's not going to make me take I saw one person's tweet saying how everybody should sign up to HBO Max now and pay until the Snyder Cut comes out and then cancel. So you're paying something.
Let's make them all happy. Let's make them all happy and rich before we even get the movie.
And then I tell you what, let's all go around to Warner Brothers executives' houses and give them all fucking reach around because we're so great. Yeah. Fuck up,
Let's applaud night and day outside producers' houses and
keep
them awake.
8 o'clock tonight, people. Get on your front doorstep. We're going to be having a 20-minute clapping session for HBO for bringing this out. Nah, fuck it. Look, it's going to be something I'm going to watch. Is it going to make me sign up on a long-time basis? No. Does it need to be remade? Well, this is one of the first question I'm going to ask you because this week's episode we are looking at. I'm sure if you've heard the last episode, all three of you, and if you've been watching on Twitter, then we are going to be talking about Point Break, not just the classic 1991, but the reboot as well from 2015. That's one of the first questions, but first, here's this.
It's not tragic to die doing what you love. If you want the ultimate, you gotta be willing to pay the ultimate price.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote.
You want to nail the bank robbers and be a big hero? Definitely. The ex-presidents are surfers.
You trying to tell me the FBI is going to pay me to learn to surf?
This is gonna be a great day, Johnny.
Do you think taxpayers would like it, Utah, if they knew that they were paying a federal agent to surf and pick up girls?
Babes.
Big one.
The correct term is babes, sir.
100% pure adrenaline. Does either one of you have anything even remotely interesting to tell me?
Caught my first tube this morning, sir.
Point Break, the classic, and the reboot. Today we're talking about both. We have sat through both this week. Straight away, tell me what you think about both of these. Straight off the bat, what do you think about these two films, Carl?
Okay. Point Break is quite possibly one of my favourite movies ever made.
Yeah.
I fucking adore Patrick Swayze with every fibre and being of my heart and my penis. Watching it was hard, and I was potentially hard because God Almighty, like there's this scene. I'm just gonna jump in to a scene, right? And obviously we'll recap the start, but there's a scene where Utah and Bodhi are walking up the street together, and they're, it's just after they beat up the Nazi fucks.
I know, I knew you were going to go
and I had to literally pause it, and I just looked at Swayze and I went, whoa, that's a handsome man right there. That's a fucking Adonis right there.
So you like it? You like the film?
I everything about it. I absolutely loved it. It came out at a time where it was on Sky about 93, 94. So it was around that time where all I did was watch films. It was the epitome of early 90s cool. It kind of went into everything, the MTV generation, the start of all this, what do you call it? Extreme sports, extreme living and things like that. I adored it. I can't remember ever thinking that Keanu Reeves was going to be as big as a star as he was when I was watching it.
No, I kind of watched it after Bill and Ted. So I'd watched Bill and Ted and then watched Point Break a bit later on. It was before Speed. So it was in that, it must have been around it. Yeah. I was watching the Bill and Ted films. So I knew Keanu Reeves from there. And I love that. Like I said, Patrick Swayze for me is an absolute, like I say, is a force of nature. I went and watched Roadhouse for the first time after watching this. And my God.
Damn right.
The
Damn right.
testosterone was just dripping out of the television after watching that. It got everywhere.
How does any woman, expect their man to live up to him? You come out of Roadhouse, you take your lady to Roadhouse, right? You take your lady to Roadhouse, she watches Patrick Swayze kick ass, and, then you try to take her out for something to eat, and then she looks across at, this fat fuck who's trying to impress her.
I was just going to say, I bet no woman's ever told Patrick Swayze he's too fat to go on a trampoline.
Never. At all. Never.
And what about the reboot then? Because I'll be honest with you, I watched this the first time, totally didn't want to enjoy it, didn't want to like it, and I thought, no, that's it. And I remember it being well made, and that was about it. And I watched it again, and I was ready to hate it. If you've seen me on Twitter, I'm ready to hate it. And you know what? And I was thinking this watching the first one, and we talked about this a moment ago. When it comes to reboots, when we talked about Scarface as well, you look at a film, does it need to be rebooted? Does it have a need to be rebooted? Scarface doesn't. Scarface is fine as it is. It doesn't need it. This, you know what? Modern day CGI, modern day camera. Just 1 second. No.
Don't.
There is an aspect of it which you can improve on in terms of making the story bigger, which they did. But they absolutely shat on everything else in doing it. They looked at that and said, we need to improve the skydiving. It now needs to be snowboarding. It now needs to be jumping off Angel Falls. It needs to be the biggest and the best. Like every film, it has to be, one step bigger, one step bigger. But in doing that, you look at the cast and the characters compared to each other, absolute garbage. The story is pretty much the same. The only thing I would say is slightly improved on is the action. So, for me, I'd watch it saying, look, I should give it the benefit of the doubt. Is it something that Jaws doesn't need to be remade. Nobody's ever going to approach that. Back to the Future, it doesn't need to be. Could Back to the Future be improved in any way in terms of CGI to add to the story? It doesn't need it. But there are some films when you look back and you think, yeah, that needs it. Godzilla, for example. The American Godzilla 97 version. That needed a reboot because the CGI was better, the scope was better, and it could improve the film. So I was willing to give it the benefit of the doubt. But Jesus Christ, it's garbage. It's such a bad film.
I had exactly the same feeling as you. Like, I was going into it thinking, I'm going to fucking really despise. It's going to be another Howard the Duck, and it's going to be a slog, and I'm going to have to, take a few breaks and go take a piss and go get something to eat, and maybe go sit on the toilet, and just hide for a while. But as you say, the set pieces were really good. The scope of it was amazing. How it was shot was beautiful.
That's right. It was impressive. I've said it was a bad film. No, okay, it wasn't a bad film. It was competently made. The effects were brilliant, and there's only one bit actually. A lot of it was actually done there and then. The stunts were done live. The majority of them, obviously, different edits and different takes. But there was only one thing with CGI that really stood out to me, which we'll come to in a minute. But in terms of how the film looked, made. Everything, yet really good. The acting could have been better. But for me, the beauty of Point Break when I was watching it this afternoon is that story between the two characters. And they totally messed them up. The reboot totally messed them up.
Yeah. And, the one thing that obviously that the reboot remake did was they tried to make it into some ecological movie. You can see it the whole way through it that they tried to do this, and it was so confused as a movie. What did it want to actually be? They were all really. I wrote down foreign mysticals, and they were all, and they all had a philosophy, and everybody had, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is groovy, man. This is really groovy, and and then you get to the end, and they've got fucking AK-47s, and they're shooting up a town, and you're like, what? What? that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You know, now you kind of oppose that to the scene in the original Point Break where, you know, they go into the bank with Johnny Utah and he has to shoot his way out. You know, there is no other option for him because the cop and the security guard sit up and they start shooting his friends, and then he leaves 2 of his friends dead in there, and, you know, he has to kill the cop. But you can see it in Swayze's eyes that he never intended in any way, shape or form, you know, to do that. Now, I don't want to obviously talk about the end yet. We'll get to the end.
Yeah. Let's look at Utah and Bodhi then. So let's start with Keanu. Well, no, let's start with the reboot. So Luke Bracey, I believe it is, Australian actor who plays Utah, and you've got your man who plays Bodhi. I've totally forgotten now. This is absolutely very unprofessional of me. Please talk between yourselves at home. Edgar Ramirez. Thank you for the music. Edgar Ramirez playing Bodhi and Luke Bracey playing Utah. And Utah. Okay, let's look at Utah. In the remake, he is an extreme sport enthusiast who decides he no longer wants to participate in that world because of a death to his friend. In the new one, it is a guy who's absolutely clueless to that world. He is 100% outside of it, and he's our gateway to that story. He's our gateway into that world. And for me, it took away from it. It took away that, because he was already part of that world, but just got dragged into the criminal side of it, it made the reboot, it just didn't do anything for me. Seeing that it's this young FBI...
Scene at the start, that scene at the start just didn't need to be there.
Not at all.
You know,
I think
he could have explained, but that's the thing, he could have explained that later in the story when he first meets Bodhi, and, you know, Bodhi knows who he is because Bodhi is all mystical and all knowing, you know, because, you know, he's got fucking Google and the G-Max channel, you know, for just snowboarding and shit like that there, you know, so Bodhi already knows who he is, and Bodhi knows his backstory and things like that there. You know, it just opens up more issues because, let's be honest, if some real super hot shit fucking YouTube snowboard motocross guy, you know, leaves it and starts to become an FBI agent, that's going to be all over the fucking internet.
Yeah.
Like, all over the fucking internet. You know, he's going to be on every fucking BuzzFeed top 10 list about motocross fucking people. You know, so if the guy has fucking access to Google, he can surely see that this guy's an FBI agent or a police officer or whatever.
And it was... when you look at the two and you talk about character arcs, his arc was, I feel bad because my friend died and I didn't. I got over that by falling into this world with Bodhi and understanding nature and being at one with yourself and all, blah, blah, blah. But that for me just wasn't, there was nothing there to it. There was nothing there.
There was no heart. There was no heart.
No, I didn't care about this guy. It felt bad because his friend died by accident, which was nothing to do with him. He had survivor's guilt. Somehow he ended up in this gang by turning up in Paris at some underground street fight, and the Bodhi just goes,
can we actually talk about that? Because so just he goes to surf the wave that they're all surfing, and it's in some. Yeah, for the first time. Yeah. So he goes there, he goes under the water, Bodhi saves him, brings him onto the yacht, he wakes up, and they chitter-chatter for a while, and then, you know, he learns as he's waking up that they're going to Paris at 7:00. Now, I listened to it 3 or 4 times, just because I kept thinking to myself, hold on, right, this is Paris, 7:00, blah, blah, blah.
Paris,
so, yeah, he then gets in the car with Ray Winston and he's like, all right, governor. Well,
British.
You know, and but the American twins, I don't understand what the American twins is about.
Just 1 second, I was just about to say, it sounds like a British guy faking an American accent who is faking a British accent.
He does it well.
He did it well, but...
Yeah.
Alright, straight away, let's just get rid of this. Pappas, as a character... Gary Busey absolutely knocked it out of the park. He's solid. He's there. The Ray Winston character brought absolutely. In the original, the Pappas was the one who found the gang and was trailing them and had the idea about them. So he was the driving force. So Ray Winston for me was nothing more than an angry Cockney. So anyway, that's that said. So
So So
Apparently
he gets in the car. Yeah, he gets in the car with Ray Winston, and he says, "Oh, it's going down in Paris," and and then Ray Winston's trying to talk him out of it, and then they drive to Paris. Ray Winston drops him at a street, and then the guy walks to some guy and goes, "Train station," and the guy points to the train station, and then he walks, and then he's there.
Yeah. And then he just happens upon an underground fight club.
It's Underground Fight Club, and luckily enough, the new dead presidents are there.
The new dead president, and it just, I don't mind a film if it is corny, cheesy, whatever. But if it's beyond the realm of realism, do you know what I mean? Somebody said, "Oh, I've lost my wife." Well, nowadays you'd use Find My Phone. Something along those boring lines of understanding modern day technology.
Do you remember the story about Die Hard 4.0?
I've heard lots of stories. I tried to forget about that film.
No, this is the story about Die Hard 4.0 that I heard. Right? So they have a script. And it was everything that was in the script was there, which is in Die Hard 4.0. It wasn't obviously called Die Hard 4.0 at the time. Yeah. Then some guy went, "You know what? This would be great as a Die Hard vehicle for Bruce Willis." And then they went, "Oh, that's a great idea. Let's write John McClane into here and we'll make it a Die Hard movie." And that's how fucking Die Hard 4.0 got made.
Yeah.
Now,
okay. I've heard that. Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is a whole pile of guys got together, in some fucking circle jerk, and, they're all talking about, jumping out of planes and fucking jumping off mountains, and they're all sitting watching the G-Max channel, and they're going, "Yeah, fucking, let's make a movie with fucking, do you remember that movie Point Break? Oh, yeah, dude, oh, fucking, yeah, dude, let's fucking do it," and that seems to me how this movie got made.
I think it's somebody who just went, "Do you know what would be great? Let's remake that film." But it seems like it's a film that's made. I mean, it was a film that was made by a cinematographer and a music video director. There was one point. It's beautiful, great to look at, but there was one scene. I remember watching, and they were doing the free diving. Him and they met the woman who's fridged later on. I don't even remember. Samsara or something, the young lassie in the new one.
I don't have a fucking clue, because
meets her on the boat. Meets her on the boat. They go diving in, and it was this fantastic shot with this kind of Ibiza chill out music. And I just thought, this is a film that they put on in one of these trendy bars, along with fashion show channel, the fashion catwalk channel, and they put all these trendy music on and shit. And it's just a film that's made to look great by a bunch of really spiritual people who really get the meaning of the first one. The meaning of the first one was a fucking criminal, Bodhi, who, yes, he had this spirituality about him, but he just wanted to rob banks and fuck off and live. He was a criminal.
Yeah, he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy.
He was a bad guy. He did not think twice about shooting that copper. And yes, you said he didn't want to do it.
No,
for me, he pulled the gun and shot him straight.
No. I take issue with that. I take umbrage with that one. Yeah, I do.
The Blu-ray player.
like Swayze was a bad guy. He was a bad guy, and he did bad things. But as they say in the appointment in the movie, they had 30 bank robberies in 3 years, and not one person was shot, right? Swayze, the character Bodhi, I keep saying Swayze, the character Bodhi, he didn't want to kill people, right? It was when the robbery went bad, he looked up, he seen his mates, and this guy was about to refill his clip. He had no other option. He had to fucking kill him.
Right?
I would kill a cop in that situation, Paul. If me and you decided that it was
this cannot be used as evidence in a court or what? That sounds very
if I was in a bank and you were there with me and you got gunned down by the security guard in that vest, I would blow his fucking brains out.
Alright, you want to put it that way then? You've got that guy, and yes, he didn't want to kill anybody. So if he didn't want to kill anybody and he was so spiritual, why did he load his gun? Because he knew.
For protection, Paul.
I'm not having a dig. I'm just saying he was more...
Really
Fucker. No, what I'm saying is, the new one was... I think they were selling him as more as an anti-hero. Because he was giving back, he was giving all this money and all these diamonds away to poor people, obviously vastly destabilising the economy in Mumbai, but whatever. And who gives a fuck about that, though? Just give raw diamonds to peasants.
Isn't that bad? Isn't that bad that you're talking about, you know, he's gonna, you know, really fuck the economy? That's the first thing that I thought as well. I was like, Jesus, they're gonna be buying like fucking pints of milk with a diamond. You know?
But the problem is, he's a more of a, like I say, he's an anti-hero. It's supposed to be more ambiguous, I think, rather than the original where he was just after getting this money and getting to Mexico and riding his wave. I think the original Bodhi, he was spiritual and all that, but I think he was a lot more, at the end of the day, he was a bank robber who just happened to be a surfer.
That's part of the problem as well, is where they try to add so much stuff extra into the movie. Now, as you said at the start there, you know, remaking a movie that's already good is stupid. But remaking a movie with maybe the technology that we have now, the cameras that we have now, you know, it's potentially, you know, it's a good idea. But the problem with that is that they start adding in people's backstories and they add in, you know, wee bits of mysticisms and stuff like that there. And that's part of the reason why I kind of got lost in the movie, because I'll be honest with you, about 40 minutes in, I was like, yeah, this is actually isn't too bad. You know, if I didn't know it was Point Break, if I didn't realize it was Point Break, I would just sit and watch it. And I wouldn't be sitting making notes about it. You know, I would sit and watch it as a movie. But you know, when they start adding, you know, wee bits of backstory into when you know it's a remake, you know, when they start adding wee bits and pieces into the backstory, you know, the Osaki ate, and you know, he was the child on the boat, wasn't he?
Yeah.
What? Oh, what the fuck does that even? It doesn't even make any difference to the story whether he was a child on the boat or not.
It was the Osaki 8. I read that. I read something about this afterwards. It's they've made it up for the film, but it's giving them a point to what he's doing, Bodhi, and Utah with that. But it's giving him a reason. Like I say, it's not all selfish. And I really didn't think they didn't want to just have him as I think he wanted the audience to be conflicted as to who should they root for. Because in the original, you're rooting for Utah. Or you should be, because he's the FBI, he's the good guy, you're hunting the bad guy. But with the new one, I think they wanted to make it more ambiguous, which made it weaker.
You see, I disagree with you there. I do disagree with you there. Because I think, like, Utah in the original Point Break doesn't know that the dead presidents are Patrick Swayze and the guys, right? So he doesn't know, so he thinks it's the fucking surf Nazi punks. So that's the kind of angle. Now, it is blindly fucking obvious that it is the other guys in the remake. Like, it is beyond the pale fucking obvious. And, you know, an hour and 10 minutes into the movie, fucking, you know, Johnny Utah in the remake looks at them and goes, they're the ones doing it? Well, aye, dickhead, because there's fucking no one else. Like, what? There's fucking nobody else to look at? How did it take you an hour and 10 minutes to figure this shit out?
I've got to admit, it moved along. I think the looks at the first one, but now we don't need that. We need more shots of him wingsuiting and base jumping.
but it got to an hour. But it got to about an hour, and I was like, yeah, this. If it ended now, it would be, you know, redeemable. If it ended now, and then another 5 minutes came, and it was like, right, okay, right. So now they've blown up the fucking the bricks, and they've tossed over all the lorries, and yeah, okay, right. He's gonna catch him now. No. We gotta find a way. We gotta find a way to let new Johnny Utah shoot his gun in the air. We gotta find that scene. And that's, you could fucking see it. You could fucking see it. And there was no angst. There was no nothing. You know, there was nothing. No. There was no emotional connection between them. There was nothing. And it was just pointless.
You know what? That's a damn good point. And we'll say this, you know what? We'll come on to the ending as well now. I'm going to talk about this towards the end. The endings. Let's take the reboot first. After watching that film of real stuntmen, climbers, crossborders, whatever you want to, all doing these live stunts looking fantastic, why would you choose to finish it on a green screen boat in the most darkest, remote place? I mean, the original was great because that ending, I was waiting for them to fight in the new one to show that he was still conflicted. And he wasn't. So in the original, you had Utah, who had obviously left the FBI, had gone on leave or whatever. He was following him around the world, found him in Australia, beat him, still wanted to bring him in, handcuffed him, nearly drowned, and said, I'm still taking you in. Even though FBI have given me up, I'm still taking you in. Mm-hmm. And he talked him round because he understood that this was his moment, etc. The new one, he helicopters out 150 miles offshore into a green screen CGI boat, and he lands, and he goes, "You're coming in." "Oh, no, I don't want to." "Oh, okay." And then he goes, you piss-taking bastard.
Well, number one, it seemed like the last scene in like some really, really stupid theatre production. You know, he comes down from the roof. You get hit in the back. That's my helicopter.
You got some kid with a ruler against his lips.
Yeah. And he comes down, and, you know, they have this conversation about, you know, the fucking Osaki ate Nirvana shit, and, you know, then he takes his boat over the wave, and it's like, you know, as you say, it was really looked amazing, you know, at the start, and then at the end they just decide. Do you remember the movie Perfect Storm?
I've never seen it, but I know the ending, so go ahead.
Yeah. So, well, not the ending, but, you know, Clooney and fucking Wahlberg in this movie, like, it looked fantastic. You know, it looked like they were in the ocean, you know, when these big waves were smashed up. This genuinely looked like somebody had drew fucking waves on the side of a wall, and these two guys were standing on a fucking wooden canoe. And, like, the boat
somebody
was
just
tiny,
splashing water at them every so often. It was a fishing boat.
Now, I'm not a fucking helicopter expert. You know, I don't claim to be. You know, but 150 fucking miles offshore, that's a 300 fucking mile round trip. Can helicopters go that far?
I don't know. In that storm, which was supposed to be anyway, the point is that it was. I read a story recently, or I heard it off a podcast. I don't know what it was, and I'm sure, hopefully, somebody can tell me one day. But it was the story of a director that was making this film. I think it was fairly modern, last 20 years, and it made 3/4 of the film. Oh God, it might have been RoboCop. It might have been more than that. They made about 3/4 of the film. And they made it sort of violent and a bit, you know. And they showed the studio, and the studio loved it. And they went, "Oh, by the way, we've run out of money, so you have to give us the money to go finish the film." I can't remember what it was. It was something like RoboCop or something where they were worried that the studio wouldn't let them finish making it, so they ended up having to go back for more money. But anyway, it looked like a film where they'd made it, and then at the end gone, "Oh, we forgot about Brody. We left him. What do we do? Oh, we better just quickly go film something in a car park." It was so jarring. And you compare it, and when you look at the character arcs of your main hero, your main anti-hero, whatever, they were just so weak. And it was, if I was looking at the original, I'd say this is a film that it could be rebooted because the special effects or the action, the cameras would do it justice. But they forgot about everything else. No, it didn't need it. It didn't need it, but it could be justified. I could justify that. If somebody said, "You're going to what film would you make?" What film would you reboot nowadays? Would you reboot if you could think of a film that would benefit from it? Because I'm struggling.
Last Action Hero.
Okay, well, that's a movie podcast. Thank you very much.
Can I also add that, and this is a little, obviously, insight as to the movies that we're going to be looking at next week. I didn't add Last Action Hero one, and I'm really, really annoyed that I didn't add it in. I'm just going to say that, all right? Because I think Last Action Hero is a very underrated movie.
Well, there's your sneak peek for next week.
Back to Point Break.
Back to Point Break. Last Action Hero when it came out, 94? 93?
I would say 93.
So we're only too far off this, was it? I watched Eraser the other day as well. And I must admit...
Maybe we could have the Arnie conversation.
I watched Eraser the other day, and I'll tell you what, I was watching that, because I'm not talking about Erasers. I was watching that, and I was thinking, okay, typical action. Bang, crocodile fight. Fucking nailed it. I've never seen that film before. It's always been one of those that I've never had the opportunity to watch. Anyway, crocodile fight. Action. So, like I say, it was obviously, I felt it was needed. I felt it's one of those things that if you're going to make a reboot, it could benefit from. You look at the original, you're talking a couple of surfing scenes, a night surfing scene, where I think, and a couple of skydives. And in the new version, you've got, a sky-to-earth base jump. You've got
But does that improve it? Does that improve anything? Does it improve anything?
I'm not saying it improves it, but what I'm saying is they've made another film in that theme, that story, and they've done something different and bigger, which looks good. They have improved it they've made the stunts bigger, more dangerous, more of them. And the fact that pointless. But the fact it didn't look like, I'm glad it wasn't Triple X.
Hold on, I got a new name. Pointless Break.
Jesus Christ, this kid's a genius.
Yeah! I should be fucking working for Universal or something. Maybe not Universal, because they're only going for streaming shit.
So what? I'm saying they've improved it. I think they made it bigger and better. We've talked about the ending. What was the other thing?
Laurie Petty.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Tank Girl.
Yeah.
See, again, her relationship, there just wasn't a relationship in the second one.
Well,
I started by saying I think this will be alright and it wasn't that bad of a film and we've just absolutely slated it, but I think it's absolutely right.
Well, it's funny, no, but listen, just because, I don't think we've slated it at all. I think, yes, what we're doing is we're putting it up against, another movie that is supremely better than it. If we were to watch this movie and Point Break had not come out, I would have given it was an enjoyable 7 out of 10, with a bit of a shit ending, with a bit of a fucking mixed up message, yeah, 100%. But one of the main problems for me about the movie as well was I know what Laurie Petty did with the story in Point Break and her character in Point Break and how she moved the story on and how she was the kind of arc between Swayze and Reeves, how she was, she was Bodhi's and, Bodhi, is so carefree and airy-fairy that he didn't really care if somebody else was seeing his chick and stuff like that there. But, it kind of got me down like a rabbit hole of Laurie Petty as well, because as you say, like the only things you can think of Laurie Petty are League of Their Own, Tank Girl, and
League of Their Own. I can't even remember from that. She in League of Their Own?
Baseball movie. She was Kit. She was Kit. Davis' sister.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. She was amazing. She was amazing. And like to me, Laurie Petty, I think I said last week, Laurie Petty was one of the sexual awakenings for me in my youth. Again, there was a lot of them in the 90s.
Hang on, we're gonna have a jingle at this point. It's called my sexual awakening, man.
I was a very lonely country boy.
This week on Cormac's Wank.
Laurie Petty.
The 90s.
Yeah. I thought that Laurie Petty just seemed to be on the cusp of being a superstar, right? And I couldn't figure out why she just seems to have disappeared. And then I kind of looked into it a wee bit more, right? And Sandra Bullock has stole her career. Stole it. Right. So, Lori Petty was supposed to be Sandra Bullock's character in Demolition Man. She fell out with Joel Silver, the producer on Demolition Man, and he then basically blackballed her. That was it for her. Like, he blackballed her and he badmouthed her, all this crap. And that's how we never...
I'm sorry.
Saw that.
Excuse me. Are you really trying to tell me that sort of thing happens in Hollywood?
I'm trying to tell you that Sandra Bullock is a fucking zombie. That's what I'm trying to say. She's a fucking zombie who fed off the life force of Lori Petty. Lori Petty should have been Sandra Bullock. We should have seen her laughing at the fucking 3 seashells. We should have seen Lori Petty in the seat with Keanu and Speed. Yeah, wouldn't that have been far better?
And is that it? Just because Sandra Bullock has gone on, what else? So what's Lori Petty been in since?
Tank Girl.
She's not been in anything else.
No, she was in a bunch of TV shows. She was in like ER and fucking not the General Hospital. What do you call it? I can't even remember it. She was in a lot of TV shows. Prison Break. She was in Prison Break.
Was she?
Yeah, she was like something, and then she was in that Netflix one, Orange Is the New Black.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, she was in that as well. Nothing as to what she should have been. Nothing. She came off, Point Break, and Point Break should have made her. Point Break should have made her. But she, it wasn't a Swayze situation. You think of Swayze the year before Swayze did Point Break, he did Ghost. And Swayze wasn't even in the promotional things for Point Break, in some scenes for Point Break, because he was in Europe promoting Ghost. So Swayze was a fucking AAA superstar. Swayze was genuinely Tom Cruise. He was it. He was the balls. He was the man in fucking the early 90s. And so this was just like a vehicle for people. It was a vehicle for Keanu Reeves. Yes, he was in a lot of bullshit back in the early 90s. But it was one of those ones where this was his first foray into being an action star. And Lori Petty should have went on to better and didn't. I think that's probably what I'm trying to say.
At least you got it out your system.
Thanks. I love you, Lori Petty.
Come back, Lori.
Come back to me. Come back to me.
It's only a court injunction.
Move to Belfast, please.
Right, do you want some Point Break trivia?
Oh, please.
Apparently, Point Break 91, as we're going to fondly call it for now, broke the record for $20 million in video rentals, which at the time was apparently a lot.
Of course it did.
Yep. Out of the ex-presidents, is a little fun one for you. Out of the four...
The quiz? Can you turn to the quiz?
No. Out of the four, 3 get shot, 1 doesn't, which is opposite to real life. Reagan got shot in real life and the other 3 didn't get shot. There you go. Did you notice the little nod to Patrick? Keanu, Utah and Pappas are having a meatball sandwich or something. And this says they've been following Bodie around all day. And he says at one point, he followed him while he went to get lunch at Patrick's Roadhouse. Did you hear that?
Really?
Yeah. About halfway through the movie. Johnny Utah said I've been following him around all day. And he says at one point, he says he had lunch at Patrick's Roadhouse. So there you go.
Hold on. So this opens another kind of question. Is this in the same universe? Roadhouse?
Shared universe. Well, okay. So if the Red Hot Chili Peppers were surfers in Point... What was it? War Child, that was it. And in terms of the reboot, Who do you think was cast as Bodhi first? A lot of them were offered it, apparently.
Do you know who I would have thought would have been a good one? Funny enough, you talked about it earlier on. Your man Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian. He would have been a great Bodhi.
Yeah. No, it was Gerard Butler.
What?
Apparently, Gerard Butler was offered the role and took it, and then backed out.
It seemed like a very European movie.
Yeah.
To you as well, yeah.
Like the Transporter films, or those type, or whenever they need to make a sequel on a low budget, they always set it in Eastern Europe, and it's always some.
But you know what? It wasn't that low of a budget. It was like $100 to $150 million budget. Yeah, and it's like I'm looking at it and going like the only recognizable name that's in that movie, to us is Ray Winston.
Yeah.
Everybody else is kind of on the fringes of acting and things like that. Oh, well, Delroy Lindo. Okay, yes. Well, I get that. Yeah, but I mean, like the only person who's there in the story to us would be Ray Winston. Like everybody else seemed to be on the edge, and the American guy kind of, would it have been a better movie if it had like a foreign lead, like a foreign Johnny Utah?
Well, to me, he was Australian who played him, but it was supposed to be quarterback punk.
Would you like a vagina?
When you ask somebody if they can say anything in a foreign language, you say, have you got any bilingual skills? Oh, I speak a little German, or I have a little French. Cormac, can you speak Australian?
Yes, I can. I can only say one phrase, though. Would you like a vagina?
Right,
would you like a vagina?
So if you're an Australian prostitute needing some work, there is a little advice for you. What has Edgar Ramirez been in? Gold.
He was Gianni Versace in that American story. Yeah.
Apparently he's in Jungle Cruise.
Jungle what?
Jungle Cruise with The Rock and Emily Blunt. Jungle Cruise.
I thought it was mixed. Would you like to hear some of my Point Break facts, original Point Break facts?
Edgar Ramirez. Here's one for you. Edgar Ramirez was. No, I just thought I'd finish the sentence.
No!
Right, go on. Fucking give me what you got. Come on, this better be good. This better be
Edgar Ramirez. No, I want to hear about Edgar Ramirez.
No, this fact better be better than the Edgar Ramirez fact I've got for you. So go on, what have you got?
That's a lot of pressure.
Exactly. You've built it yourself. This is a rod for your own back. Okay. Come on, what you got?
Johnny Depp was supposed to be originally Utah, and Catherine Bigelow didn't want it, and she refused to make the movie unless Keanu Reeves was given the part. Would you like to know who else? Who else was the one for it?
That is kind of better than the fact I had. Go on, what you got?
Okay. So, the 4 other people who auditioned for Johnny Utah. Number 1, Val Kilmer.
Big Val.
Number 2. Yeah. Number 2, Willem Dafoe.
No.
Number 3. Yeah. Number 3.
No, I can't say that.
Charlie Sheen.
Imagine a set with Charlie Sheen and Gary Busey. Fuck it.
Number 4.
Like winter, what it? Just like powder everywhere. Come on.
Number 4, Matthew Broderick.
Oh, fuck no.
Now, I would have loved to have seen Matthew Broderick being happy in that movie. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Do you want my
He just murdered a few people in Enniskillen. I think this would have been his return to grace.
Well, Jennifer Grey had Dirty Dancing, so basically Patrick Swayze was on a mission to get them to his career back.
That's a good one. Maybe Patrick Swayze is the angel of death. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe. Do
you want my Edgar Ramirez fact?
Go for it.
He starred in Zero Dark 30, which was also directed by
Oh, yeah.
Catherine Bigelow. You got anything else?
Yeah, it's funny that Catherine Bigelow was given this movie, saying that she was married to James Cameron, the biggest director and person on the planet at the time.
I wish we all had video so you can see him take that powerful drink of wine as he finished saying that.
So I'm gonna read a few things that I've written down. Okay.
So come on, hang on. What? No, I want to go back to Catherine Bigelow. So what else had she directed up to then?
Near Dark, she did with Paxton, and she did Blue Steel with Jamie Lee Curtis. Again, another sexual awakening.
Oh Jesus!
Here, listen. It was very lonely in the countryside in Tyrone. All right.
You watch sheep.
Well, I'm not Welsh, so
sheep and Velcro gloves.
So here are some of the things that I've written down about that, or about Point Break, okay? Swayze is a cult leader.
A cult
Did you get
leader?
that?
No, the C word's kind of cut out.
As a cult, C-U-L-T, cult leader. Did you get that feeling? Did you get that feeling that?
Yeah, and Bodie is.
Yeah.
I'd say that for both of them.
No,
yeah, absolutely.
Far more of one with Bodhi in 91, because there's them scenes where he's not mystical, but he's always trying to push people on the path. Do you know what I mean? He's always whenever somebody has some kind of story turn, I don't want to do this no more. He's always there to kind of the Jim Jones kind of way to kind of set them back on the path to drink the Kool-Aid kind of thing.
Well, do you know why he's called Bodhi?
No, I don't.
It's short. Well, it's a nickname from Bodhisattva, and it's in Buddhism, a person who is on the path towards nirvana but decides not to go all the way there to help others get towards the light.
So he's there for himself?
Is what?
So he's there for himself?
No, he's basically like one step away from being the top dog, but hangs back and sacrifices his own nirvana to help other people come in. Some would call it Buddhism, some would call it a cult.
Really?
It depends how good his solicitor is.
Well, I just got the feeling that he was everything that he tries to talk about seems to be cultish, not cuntish, cultish.
Yeah. Well, the new one, the new right. Okay, last said on the new one. The new one, he was just, when you sat around just all, loads of people in like wearing hemp and vegan flip flops on and stuff, and they're just like, oh, man, it's all about being a one with nature and going to nature's spirit. Oh, fuck up. It just sounds like you're reading bullshit to people. The original,
he's that kind of guy. They're that kind of people that when you're out at a bar, they decide that they want to climb the fucking nearest tree. Them kind of fuckers.
Yeah.
Irritating bastards.
And just be on the
fuckers.
But they don't want anybody else there. They just want to be the one sat in the tree.
Yeah.
Making daisy chains.
So, did you make notes to these two movies?
No.
It doesn't matter if you haven't, because all I want to do is I want to read you a couple of notes that I made from both movies, right? So this is the ones from the remake. Jesus, why explain Point Break? So halfway through the remake, they decide that they want to talk about Point Break. And then I thought to myself, do you know what? It's not really a very good movie. So maybe they should have just changed the name to Break Point and then just went on it alone. Next one. I find people like this very irritating. It's extreme sport, Fast and Furious. Maybe that's what the original was. Maybe that's where what the original was for. Why is there a girl in this movie?
Okay, hang on.
That's from the remake.
Hang on. Right. I was going to do this after, but I'm doing this now. You've quite naturally come onto this. What I was going to say to you is, I don't think this is the first remake of Point Break. And I'm going to say to you now,
It's
and
not at all.
I sat and watched this, and I watched this other film again. I put to you that The Fast and the Furious was the first remake of Point Break. Okay?
No, it 110% is, because...
Right. Just listen to this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The main hero is in the FBI or the LAPD. He goes undercover to infiltrate a gang that are stealing stuff. The gang is involved in extreme sports. He suspects another rival gang to be the perpetrators. He gets close to that gang, falls in love with one of the female acquaintances. He eventually realises the baddies are the ones he's been looking for. He lets the gang leader go at the end of the movie. They're both set in LA. I found this one website where they're both drinking Corona. Both heroes eat tuna fish sandwiches. The last job is always one job too many. The closing shot is both the hero saying he's not coming back. They both feature a foot trace through backyards of LA. It's, for me, Fast and Furious is a better reboot of Point Break than Point Break 2015.
I agree with you.
And
100%.
If you're going to remake a film, do something different. Take the story, take what's good, which is the character arcs, the evolution, the development. Take that and change it. Don't just go, oh, you know what would be good? Why don't they jump off fucking Angel Falls? Oh, let's skydive off Mount Everest. It's just all cock and no balls.
That's all they wanted to go for. Yeah, all cock and no balls. They wanted to do set pieces. They wanted to throw money at it, and that was it. That's all they wanted to do. But again, you know, I wanted to go in and I wanted to despise it, and I didn't despise it. I just pitied it.
Okay, well, on that note, marks out of 10 for Point Break. In fact, no, what should we do? We need to come up with a scoring system.
Swayzes. How many Swayzes at a bag?
How many Swayzes? No, just that, because no, you don't limit yourself. How many Swayzes would you give this film?
The remake?
Yeah.
I'd give it 4 Swayzes.
And the 1991 Point Break?
4,891 Swayzes. And I don't think we've even talked enough. I don't think we've even talked enough about how sexual that Patrick Swayze was in Point Break. You know, I don't think that we've spoken enough about how a man can look so sexual in the water and how glistening his body can be in the water and how manly and sexual that his face can be, and how sexual that Patrick Swayze was.
It's safe to say then that we like Point Break 1991 as a film, and Point Break 2015 is one very much you can sidestep if you're at that bargain bin. Just save your money up and buy something a bit better. Look, the 1991 is an absolute classic. Point Break.
Just buy the original. Just buy the original.
Just buy the original. Just go and buy the original. If you've already got it, go and buy it again. It's a great film. It's one of those that, you know, from about 1988 to 95, there were just some great practical effects, original action films.
1986, greatest year for movies.
87 to 95, outstanding.
1986.
We're doing a movie menu on Sunday, so it should be out Sunday night, Monday. What did we announce what it was? We did, didn't we? We said it on the last. Yeah,
we did. Do you want to say what movies we're doing?
Yeah, let's say what movies we're doing, just for anybody who wants to watch them along with us. So, we're going to be doing this one a little bit different because we realise that me and Cormac both love the same Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. So we are going to be serving up a joint menu. We're going to be working on this one together, and we're going to talk a little bit longer about the films we love. So as a starter, we're going to be serving you up The Running Man, a fantastic film early in his career. And we're then going to be serving up a fish course. I personally looked down Arnold's body of work, and I couldn't find anything that was a miss, to be honest. I love the guy. I love the work he does. But there is one
You
film.
fucking liar.
There is one film that stands out, and that is Hercules in New York, the redubbed version with Arnold Strong's original voice as Hercules. And
Can I say, if anybody was listening, obviously, to the last episode, I am not going to be watching Hercules in New York again. It's not happening.
I will be watching that again. What was your main course again?
My main course is Total Recall.
Yep, and mine is Terminator 2, so we're going to clash a little bit there, two films around the same time. And then for dessert, this is probably my favourite film of his. If we manage to get through the episode without hearing Jamie Lee Curtis and Sexual Awakening from the
Another
Irish Woman.
Sexual Awakening.
And to be honest, that hotel scene, wow. She has been doing Pilates.
Yes.
We're talking about True Lies, the James Cameron film from the mid-90s. Absolutely fantastic. So, we're going to be watching The Running Man, Hercules in New York, which is available on Amazon Prime, Terminator 2, Total Recall, and True Lies for afterwards. I decided to pick these up. Who is?
Yeah, Running Man's on Netflix.
So The Running Man's on Netflix. I ain't even checked it. There we go. That's something we can do to help people next time. So Running Man's on Netflix. If you've got that, watch that. It's great fun, cheesy as fuck, but absolutely brilliant. We're actually talking, and you know what? There's probably other films that have got Schwarzenegger in them that might be better or might be worse. But for me, it needs to be an Arnie film. I don't just want a film Arnie's in. It's got to be his film. So I think we've got some crackers there. Looking forward to that. I'm going to be watching them this weekend. You got anything more?
Nope.
Well, we're going to go break the point. Is that what surfers do? The surfer
Break
dudes
point. We're going to break point.
We're going to break point. We're going to go...
Or pointless break.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.